All right, let's jump right into this explainer and break down the absolute insanity of quest supremacy. We're tracking the completely wild chronological progression of our ultimate underdog, Johnson. I mean, we're talking about a guy who literally leveled up his life. We're going to follow him all the way from the absolute bottom of the barrel to becoming an unstoppable powerhouse.
So imagine being at the very bottom of the high school food chain. You're bullied, you're stepped on, you're just utterly miserable. And then, a mysterious video game, Mission Window, just suddenly pops up, floating in thin air right in front of your face. Because that is exactly what happens to Johnson. After taking a brutal beating, he's just lying there wishing his life was a webtoon. And well, the universe actually answers. It gives him a literal system interface that only he can see.
You can clearly see this ridiculous zero-to-hero journey here. He goes from being the ultimate outcast, literally apologizing to his bullies just to survive, to becoming the feared, tactical boss of Gangbuck West High. But look, crossing that massive emotional and physical gap, it was not an overnight jump. There were absolutely no shortcuts. To go from a zero to an absolute boss, the guy had to seriously grind.
And man, that grind starts with some of the most bizarre, honestly embarrassing tutorial quests you could think of. The system literally makes him do stuff like awkwardly securing an indirect kiss by drinking from a classmate's juice box. Yeah, but the rewards? No joke. He earns a gold card that permanently grows him 3 centimeters taller. Another gold card perfectly restores his vision to 2.0 so he can finally ditch the glasses. And he even bags a silver card containing a magical recovery bean for instant stamina.
But, the stakes quickly escalate way past awkward social interactions. Suddenly, he gets this terrifying prompt glowing in front of him. Defeat Choi Chang-dong in a fight. And this isn't just some random guy. This is the exact bully who made his life a living nightmare, the one making him kneel and humiliating him every single day. For the very first time, the system is forcing Johnson to stand his ground against his absolute worst tormentor.
Okay, so here is where things get completely wild. Using a silver attack card he just earned, Johnson activates a boxing cross punch. Now keep in mind, he has 0 actual mastery in martial arts, none. But it doesn't even matter. He throws a mathematically perfect cross punch and completely knocks out his tormentor with one single clean hit. This right here is the exact turning point. It's when Johnson realizes, whoa, this system's power is dangerously real.
Of course, word of his newfound strength gets out, and Johnson finds himself suddenly cornered in a brutal 5-on-1 ambush by local delinquents. But instead of panicking like the old Johnson would, he flawlessly utilizes his inventory to survive. He's actually strategic. First, he purposely takes a few initial hits just to assess the threat level, realizing a precise chin shot is an instant knockout. Exhausted, he pops that silver card recovery beam we mentioned earlier, instantly restoring all his stamina. Then, bam, he unleashes precise boxing jabs, knocking them all out and actually achieving a secret system objective for surviving without taking a single hit after recovering. It's a real game changer.
But the system? It doesn't let him rest for a second. Almost immediately, it issues a terrifying main quest. Defeat Ku Ha-jun in 3 days. And if you know Ku Ha-jun, you know he is the monstrous, undisputed leader of Gangbuck West High. He is an absolute beast, the kind of guy who knocks people out with 0 effort. The penalty if Johnson fails? He loses all his system perks and goes right back to being a miserable target.
No pressure, right?
So vastly outmatched in pure combat skill, Johnson has to rely on pure tactical genius and system synergy to survive this crazy David vs. Goliath nightmare. He purposely absorbs brutal hits from Ha-jun, letting a masochism buff card stack up, which basically increases his physical stats the more damage he takes. Then, when he's finally close enough, he pops a massive plus 100 kilogram extra strength card. Glued to the boss, he lifts and slams Ha-jun down with a terrifying 156 kilogram attack. He literally achieves the impossible.
Winning that brutal fight grants him a platinum card. And guys, this completely breaks the game wide open. It's called the spying card. It isn't an attack, but an ability that allows him to literally see the exact physical stats, potential, and intelligence of any opponent around him. Just like that, Johnson isn't fighting blind anymore. This fundamentally changes how he views his enemies. He can instantly see if someone has an S in potential or an E in strength before a single punch is ever thrown.
But here's the catch. By defeating the boss, Johnson accidentally becomes the boss. Thrust into power, his big victory drags him into a massive, rapidly escalating turf war against the other regional schools. Just look at this crazy timeline. On day 1, he's the reluctant new leader of West High.
By day 3, the system forces him into this incredibly tense gangbook unification meeting with these psychotic rival leaders. And by day 7, a full-blown gang war is officially declared against South and East Highs. To even survive this chaos, he grinds side quests like crazy to build an absurd arsenal for war. He picks up Cardmaster to combine useless bronze cards into silver or gold ones. He unlocks a Slime Summon, which is weird, but completely unpredictable in a fight. His Masochism card basically becomes his core defense. Oh, and he does all of this while famously fighting in that ridiculous X-shaped tank top that he somehow thinks makes him look intimidating. It's amazing.
Out of all that grinding, though, his biggest prize is an absolute game breaker: Drain Magic. This is a master tier skill that completely shatters the rules of his world. It actually lets him permanently absorb an opponent's stats and just add them to his own. He can literally steal the strength, speed, and endurance of the elite fighters he chokes out. He isn't just relying on temporary buffs anymore. He is permanently evolving into a monster.
Now, South and East Highs tried to form this fragile alliance to crush him, but Johnson has really grown into a true leader by this point. He strategically uses his loyal crew, like his super enigmatic friend Yakuza, and his top tactical officers, right alongside his new game-breaking powers. Together, they systematically dismantle the rival armies. He outsmarts their ambushes, survives all their double crosses, and entirely flips the tide of the regional war. But of course, just as he unites the southern territories and thinks, okay, I've finally won, the chilling shadow of North High's ruthless leader, Zhou Yun, looms over the battlefield. North High is the absolute, undisputed superpower in the region. They have legendary fighters and executives who literally treat the other schools like mere stepping stones. And Zhou Yun? Man, he's a completely different breed of terrifying. So we end up with two totally different kinds of leaders on a massive collision course. Johnson started out fighting because he had to, but ultimately, he's become this reluctant protector, fighting for his friends in his school. Zhou Yun, on the flip side, is a cruel conqueror. He actively breaks legendary fighters, pushes them to the brink of death, and feels absolutely zero guilt about the lives he's ruining. As Johnson investigates North High's bizarrely passive strategies, like, sending officers to subtly infiltrate East High rather than just aggressively wiping everyone out, he realizes something absolutely horrifying. He hits the nail on the head. He's been waiting for you to grow stronger so he can take your power. Zhou Yun hasn't been passive at all. He's been deliberately farming Johnson. And boom, here is the ultimate plot twist of the whole story. Zhou Yun is also a system user. The reason Zhou Yun's path to power seemed impossibly fast and his tactics so terrifyingly familiar to Johnson is because they're playing the exact same game. Zhou Yun started getting quests way before Johnson ever did. He hasn't been attacking because he's just been sitting back waiting for Johnson to level up and gather stats. Why? So he can use his own master system powers to harvest all of Johnson's hard-earned progression. Zhou Yun has been at this game way longer. He has far more cards and absolutely zero moral boundaries holding him back. But Johnson, he's got his loyal crew, his ridiculous X-shaped tank top, and his own game-breaking drain magic. So what happens when a newly awakened player goes head-to-head with a ruthless veteran system master? Can a fake system user actually survive? I want to know what you think. How do you see this ultimate clash ending?